start with the mouse, and Bill English was there and was with Doug all the way through, implementing many of his ideas. Bill, could you come up and say a few words?
I can only give you a little bit of history with Doug, but it's been a long time. I think I met Doug first in 1955 when he was paying his way at SRI working in magnetics. And I joined the magnetics program, and that's where I met Buck in about 55. He had written a paper on magnetics, I forget what, that was accepted at a computer conference in Philadelphia. But he then got funding through Bob Taylor for starting the program he really wanted to do. And he asked me if I would give the paper. So I went to Philadelphia and gave the paper. When I came back, I met Doug again and sat down with him and began to learn what he really had in mind. And it was a wonderful time. I put together the first experimental I don't know what to call it really, experimental situation. We had gotten enough money to buy a 160A computer, a marvelous machine. It had 4K of 12-bit words. But somehow with that machine, a guy named Tom Humphrey, who worked at SRI, managed to put together the software so we could drive the big display, and on that large display, we actually had running some of Doug's first ideas. And in particular, that's where we ran the experiments on the mouse. Doug had described the idea of a mouse to me on a sketch based on some early work on tracking planimeter. That's what I'm trying to think of, on a planimeter. And I looked at his drawings and we talked about it, and I went off and managed to get SRI to build the first mouse for us. We had enough money to do that, and the machine shop put it together, and we had a mouse, and it was wonderful. So we used that in the experiments, and that was the first time we had seen some of Doug's concepts actually on a screen. It was a great time. So it went on from there. When I came back from giving the paper, Doug showed me what he was doing, and I really wanted to join him, and he had enough money again to hire me, so I joined him and put together this system with the 160A. I remember we had the big computer, the big display on the computer, and we needed to run cables from one to the other. Didn't want to run them over the floor, and this was an early SRI temporary building, so I got a saber saw and sawed a hole in the floor and ran the cable down and back up where they belonged. It was very simple. Anyway, that was my experience with Doug, and I went on from there to be when we got additional money and did this? No, the mic is still on. Got the bigger system with the time-sharing system. I went on to him with him and became sort of chief engineer for the project and assistant director of the center. And I guess you all know where it went from there. It was really a marvelous experience working with Doug.